Joining me live now is the Shadow Transport Minister, Bridget McKenzie. Bridget, thanks for coming on the program this morning. Look, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, we just heard there, another progressive incumbent leader stepping down ahead of an election where it looks like the Conservatives are on track to win their election in October. Do you think that this international trend of voters punishing incumbent governments over cost of living will play out here this year?
Oh, great to be with you, Kenny, and Happy New Year to everybody watching this morning. Well, obviously, the cost of living crisis that's occurring here in Australia is being seen around the world, but as we know from the data, we are feeling it harder and we're going to feel it for longer, thanks to Labor's profligate spending profile that they don't seem to be stopping if yesterday's announcement's anything to go by. In terms of what we're seeing globally, you can say it's incumbents. I'd probably say it's a return to the basics. People across the West are sick and tired of progressive politics taking away their rights, not actually focusing on the things that matter to everyday people and citizens. And they're saying enough is enough, as they should and as a democracy allows them to do, which is great news.
Back home, do you welcome the Bruce Highway upgrade?
Well, obviously, the local LNP members have been campaigning against Labor's cuts and delays to the Bruce Highway since Labor came to power. Across their three budgets, there have been cuts and delays to the Bruce Highway projects that we had funded as a coalition. And from, Gladstone, Mackay, Gympie, all the way through, local MPs have been saying, and local communities have been saying enough is enough, because we know that 45% of the Bruce only has a 2-star safety rating. So those cuts and delays by Anthony Albanese were not the right move, and thankfully, funding has been restored. We've also seen Anthony Albanese backflip on the 50-50 funding policy that Catherine King forced the states to sign up to last year. And, you're now seeing other states come out and say, why not us? Why can't we go back to 80-20 funding? And I think that's, something that the Labor Party is going to have to deal with. The reality is states were bullied into accepting the 50-50 for regional road projects by Anthony Albanese, and now it's taken a coalition government in Queensland to actually renegotiate that back to 80-20, which is good news.
So if elected, would you change anything in the Bruce Highway funding arrangements, and would you revert back and honour that 50-50 funding, federal-state funding split for major transport projects?
Well, we've made very clear last year, and it's great to see Albo following Peter Dutton's announcement that we would be funding the Bruce at an 80-20 for those regional aspects. And that's something we announced last year. We also had LNP campaigning to get Labor to backflip on the Rocky Ring Road funding proposal, which they did as well. In terms of what we would do, we've already committed to 80-20 for the Bruce. We want to see that as safe freight route and a safe road for use for Queenslanders and those of us that go up there and visit from time to time. What I'm concerned about is that other states will see what the coalition state government's been able to negotiate with the federal government, and they'll be seeking to rattle the can themselves. You've seen Jacinta Allen here in Victoria asking for more money for the atrocious project of the suburban rail loop to the tune of over $9 billion. So you're going to get some pretty cranky premiers right around the country, I think, hassling Albo for more money, which is exactly what the Reserve Bank governor says shouldn't be happening. So it's going to be interesting times to see how Labor handles this sort of problem of their own making.
While campaigning with the Prime Minister, the Treasurer Jim Chalmers claims the coalition's nuclear energy plan will cost Queensland $827 billion in lost energy output. What's your reaction to that?
I'm not going to take economic advice from Jim Chalmers. The guy's being, slammed from economists from the left and the right. And the fact that we've got high inflation environment here for longer than it needs to be when compared to other comparable nations across the world shows me that this guy has, on a wing and a prayer, hoped he could find this pathway through that avoided the laws of economics, and he hasn't, and that's why you're seeing households smashed yet again and for the near future when it comes to high mortgages and the high cost of goods across the country. So I won't be taking economic advice from Jim Chalmers, but when it comes to a plan for cheaper energy into this century, affordable energy that's actually reliable, where we can keep the jobs here at home on shore and the lights home in households, adding nuclear as a stabiliser and a baseload power generator over coming decades is absolutely critical, just like every other advanced economy is doing. That's what we've committed to do. We know it's a plan that'll work, and we know it'll actually provide that reliable energy to keep businesses open and jobs on shore and bring down the cost of household bills over time.
Bridget McKenzie, great to talk with you this morning. Have a great day. See you again soon.